I'm Callie Lewis from Geek Brief TV. I've got a hot new pair of wireless speakers for you, that and more today on The Lab.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you and welcome. It's time for The Lab. Yes, Wait a minute. It's time for The Lab, and look what we have here. Hello, Kate Abraham. We have, if there is what I think there is in here, oh yes, it's Mr. Excel gold pieces.
Indeed.
That means Mr. Excel must be here.
It's real Excel money.
Excel money. Have you had some?
Thank you.
Yes. This is like leprechaun dollars.
Exactly.
They evaporate. But first you have to eat them. Bill Jelen is here. He's going to talk about Excel 2007. We haven't done a lot on the new Office 2007. It's really neat, but it's also very different. We'll talk about using it to filter your data, to choose the data points that you want. Also, Callie Lewis, as you saw, via Skype. She's going to review some very interesting speakers. They evolve. And Steve Gibson. Actually, this is a fascinating one. Somebody asked us on our Security Now podcast about wireless keyboards and how secure they were. When Steve found out, he was shocked. Shocked, I tell you. We'll talk about what's wrong with wireless keyboards in just a little bit. So that's all coming up, and your tip of the day, and lots more. Sean's shiny, and lots of callers I see. Let's get to our first caller.
We are heading to Toronto, Ontario. We have Angelo.
Yes. Hi, Angelo. How are you today?
Good, and yourself?
I'm wonderful. Welcome to The Lab.
Thank God they didn't win the lottery, or we would have been talking a dial tone right now.
Oh, yeah? Were you? How much was the lottery?
No, actually, this is Kate and the boys.
Oh. Do you think they were trying to win the lottery? What happened? You didn't win?
Me and Bill were trying to win the lottery today.
Using Excel?
Using Excel dollars.
And did you?
No, we didn't.
You're right. Thank God they didn't. My God, they'd been gone long ago. Angelo, what can I do for you today?
Well, I have a bit of a problem.
Yes, sir.
Right now...
Everybody calls me has a problem. What is this?
That's what you're for.
That's what I'm here for. I'm kind of a computer therapist.
That's a good way of looking at
it.
I need some firewalls for companies that actually stop employees from reading their emails and Facebook and
messing around when they should be working. Dang nabbit!
Yes, it's become a bit of an epidemic, if you can say that. Right?
Yeah, and I know many employees will go, oh, we've got Scrooge for a boss here. He doesn't want to let us do our Facebook. But absolutely, they're using your equipment on your time with the company's bandwidth, and you have every right to say to them, here's what you can and cannot do. I do recommend that employers who do this make a policy book. This is our internet policy. This is what we don't want you to do. Just to make it very clear, instead of just kind of all of a sudden blocking Facebook, it works a little better to do that. And there are a lot of ways to do it. Actually, you know who's here that would really probably be the right person to ask on all of this is Steve Gibson. But let me mention a couple of choices first. So this is in an office, not the home.
This is, even for the home. I mean, you have kids the same age as me, and it gets pretty scary sometimes.
At home, I use an iBoss, which is actually they have them for offices. iBoss is from Phantom Technologies, and it's let me get the right site here. myiboss.com. And what it is this is actually what a bigger company would do, only you're using their servers remotely. So the iBoss is a small device you plug into your internet access. It's really intended for small offices who don't have a big IT department. And then what happens is everything that's going to the office goes through the Phantom Technology servers, where they filter it out. You have control by IP address of what sites your employees can visit, what they can do. You can control, for instance, if they do IM or peer-to-peer, you can turn off email. You can absolutely filter everything. So this is what I use at home for the kids. And what I do is I say their IP addresses can't do anything. My IP address can do anything I want. I want Mr. Mean. So that's the iBoss. The negative on this, there are a couple. First of all, it's a monthly fee. Second of all, it does slow you down a little bit because you're going through their servers first and then coming to you, all the data. The positive is configuration couldn't be easier. You don't have to be an expert to do it. I mean, you know, there are lots of devices. We talk on the podcast about Astaro.com, which makes a security gateway, which will do all of this as well. But you have to, you know, really it's for IT pros. I mean, this is a high-end device. The yearly cost is 79 euros. It's much less expensive per month, and you have absolute control of everything that's going on locally, so there's no slowdown involved. But if you've ever tried to configure a UTM, you know you have to kind of know what you're doing. Steve Gibson is here. He's the security expert. Maybe, Steve, you have some suggestions for Angela.
The one thing I was going to say was I certainly agree with you about putting together a policy manual first. I would also add a little note on the top of everyone's screen to just, I mean, you really want to make
monitoring you.
Exactly. You really want to make sure that they understand that. That alone can actually, you know, have a positive effect on them not screwing around.
You don't actually have to do anything. Just tell them you're doing something.
And then you could do something as simple, for example, as just using a centralized hosts file, because
you can always just block individual
host files can point to another master host file.
Right.
And so you could just in one location, if you wanted to specifically exclude individual sites, you just null those out.
Right.
And you just say, you know, so Facebook and MySpace and, you know, individual sites, you know, they just die. And you say, we're sorry, but that's, you know, not what our machines are for.
You know, unfortunately, employees are very good at getting around this stuff. Kids, too. For instance, I can block instant messenger traffic by just blocking the ports that AIM uses, but then they just go and use the web-based version of it, and I can't block port 80 or they wouldn't be able to surf it all.
Right.
And that's the problem, is that even something like you're suggesting with using hosts, if they're smart enough to go use a proxy server or some other technology, they can get around that even, right?
Right, although I would say from a corporate standpoint, if you have a policy that these sites are verboten and you enforce that with some technology, then anybody who gets around that, you can really hold them responsible for that behavior.
This is the Astaro configuration page, and you know, I probably shouldn't say it's that hard to use. This is pretty straightforward in terms of content filtering. You know, you can select categories, so you don't even have to know the sites directly, and you can edit these by IP address, of course. You get instant messenger, peer-to-peer blocking. You can control VoIP usage. The nice thing about the Astaro is it's very, very powerful.
And it's what I was going to recommend. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a great solution.
Yeah. We should mention they are a sponsor of Security Now, but that's not why we recommend
it. Although that is how we know about them.
Yeah, that's true. That is how we know about them. The policy thing is important but not required. I'm not sure what the laws are in Canada and Australia, but in the States, courts have very consistently upheld that an employer has the right not only to block these services, but without warning, without notification, monitor what your employees are doing. It's interesting. In the States, that's very different from a phone call. If you're a boss and you pick up the phone to listen to what your employee is up to, the minute you hear it's personal, the law in the States requires you to hang up, to get off the phone. The same laws in the States allow you to watch any traffic, personal or not, on the Internet. So it's treated very differently. I'm not sure what the Canadian laws are or the Australian laws. You'd have to check your local jurisdictions to make sure that you're allowed to do that. But I would bet you that the courts here are very similar in their protection of employers' rights, and the reason is it's your equipment, your internet, your work time. You have every right to tell your employees what they can and cannot do. So there's a couple of choices. The iBoss is very easy. You know, when you add it up, it's maybe, I think, $15 a month. It's not much more than the Astaro. Much easier to configure, not nearly as powerful. The Astaro, or similar, there are a lot of UTMs. That's called a UTM. And there are a lot of devices like that. And they all are roughly the same in terms of difficulty. You know, you have to read the manual, figure it out. I have a 120 and I figured it out. But the power that they offer you and the flexibility is unparalleled. I mean, that's what big business uses very, very effectively. Hey, thanks for the call, Angelo.
Thank you.
Make sure that Kate and Bill are still here. Good. They haven't won the lottery yet. So coming up, Bill Jelen, lottery loser, Bill Jelen. Coming up, he's going to talk about filtering data in Excel 2007. You stay right here. We'll have a lot more fun right after this. Welcome back to the lab. I'm so glad to welcome Bill Jelen, Mr. Excel, back. He's from MrExcel.com, and he has his new book,
Yes.
It's just brand new. Learn Excel 2007 from Mr. Excel, although it says from all versions of Excel.
It does cover all versions.
Every
because
version.
Not everyone is updated.
Look at this. How many pages are...
Somewhere over 900.
And guess what? You can download the entire thing for free.
For free.
Online.
Absolutely.
MrExcel.com. Yeah. And I think that's sensible because it's a great way to look at the book, to use it as a reference, but ultimately you're going to want to buy it because you know it's got live flat pages and you can look at it and you can read it, and this is the only way to really effectively, and nobody's going to print this out. It'd be cheaper to buy the book.
Yeah, it would.
Right?
It would. And if people want to just use the ebook, that's great. I want to give away 5 million copies of this book.
Really?
That's my goal.
Yes, sir.
So
MrExcel.com. And you can download the whole book for free. Now, Mr. Excel always shows us cool things. You've been here talking about 2007 for over a year now.
Right.
You've really had a chance to bang on it. Do you use it day in, day out? Is that now your Excel?
You've got the question. In real life, I still use Excel 2003.
Really?
When I need a new feature, I go to Excel 2007.
But is it the ribbon that's turning you off? What is it about?
No, the ribbon is fine. I understand the ribbon inside and out.
Okay.
It's just...
your fingers are used to Excel 2000?
Exactly.
2000?
Exactly, yeah.
So 2003. So this is Excel 2007 we're using here.
Right, and we're going to talk about filtering today. So we have a huge data set, 500, 5,000, 50,000 rows, and we've always been able to filter in Excel.
Right.
They used to have something called the auto filter.
Right.
All right. Well, now they just renamed it filter. Auto shapes became shapes.
Shapes.
Auto filter became filter.
Maybe auto sued or something. Who knows?
That could be it.
He wanted his name back.
That could be it. So I have a data set here today. I have 500 rows or so, and it's very simple. I'm going to go to the data tab of the ribbon.
Okay.
And choose filter. And just like before, we get these little drop downs at the top, but they've dramatically improved the drop down. So let's say that I want to see, just one customer. Maybe I want to see Exxon.
This is so useful for mining your data.
Right. So now I see just those records from that one customer. Now let me choose a smaller customer here that has fewer records. I missed.
You got both Exxon.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, okay.
Now here's a cool trick. This is a trick from the new book. Let's say that we need to see a total of the selected records.
Okay.
All right, so I have to apply the filter first. That's the trick.
Obviously, you can't. Well, if you put the total on before, you get everybody.
Right, and then I use the auto sum button, which normally will give me a sum function.
It's not called sum, it's called auto sum? Thank you, Microsoft.
Yeah,
okay,
they didn't get rid of that one. What's interesting is instead of getting a sum function here, like the auto sum button normally does, it gives me the special function that shows me the total of the visible cells.
Visible, okay.
So these are 39,000. Now if I choose another customer,
that will change.
It'll change to, let's scroll down, 445,000.
Okay, so it's whatever's visible.
Exactly.
But it's the result of the filter, so you're getting the filtered information.
It's a great way to create a little ad hoc query kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of new. This and also the ability to select multiple customers. You could always, before,
Hallelujah.
You could select 2, but you couldn't do 3.
Yeah.
So we have that. And then they've added a whole bunch of new, what I call virtual filters. So instead of selecting one particular customer, I can now say, hey, I want anyone that has, contains bank. Or something like that.
This is almost like a fancy use of lookup.
A little bit.
That's nice. I can never get lookup to do exactly what I want. This would make me much easier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then dates. Dates used to drive me crazy because this transactional data, so that's daily dates.
Right.
Used to be you would open the auto filter and it would give you a list of all 300 dates in the year.
No.
Well, now they've gotten completely smart about it. They have this tree view. And so I can go in and say, hey, I only want to see January or even all these virtual filters, everything next week or everything last month or last quarter.
You wouldn't think they could, how many versions of Excel have there been? 7 or 8, right?
This is 12.
12. Yeah. You wouldn't think they could continually come up with improvements, but they do.
No, yeah, this is
really good.
Right.
That's a big improvement.
Now here's the one that when I heard about it, I said, I don't quite understand this. But as I go around and do my seminars, I find a lot of people who will go through and mark cells in a particular color. All right, so hey, I'm interested in this cell. I'm going to change the color of that cell to red or yellow.
That's for the boss, because the boss likes to see the negatives in red or whatever.
Or whatever.
Right?
But then how do we do anything with that? How do we
like a Christmas tree?
How do we total the red cells, or how do we?
Oh yeah,
right.
They're all visible.
Okay, so they gave us this brand new option under the filter that says we can filter by color.
Oh wow!
And I only want to see the red cells.
Hey, that's really handy.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right. And so even if you've applied the colors based on conditional formatting,
right,
you can go through now.
So if you're doing agings or something, you could do this very quickly, find all the overdue counts and stuff.
And you can sort by color.
So if you needed to sort all the red cells to the top, you could do that.
Wow, I like that.
Yeah, when I first heard that, I said, well, that's really silly. But as I go around, that's one that people say,
use it.
Oh, yeah, I could do that. I can do that.
Yeah.
And then the last new filter they have is under the number filters. We used to be able to do a top 10 report, but now we can say everything that's above average. So,
like our children. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Or everything in the top 5 or 10% or something like that.
Right. Everything that's above average.
Yeah.
I need that filter. That's great.
There we have it. It's the same basic functionality. It used to be called auto filter. It's now filter. You'll find it on the data tab of the ribbon. And lots of great new functionality.
Do you find now when you're using Excel 2003, you go, oh, drat, I forgot. It doesn't do that.
It's funny. I'm still using the core features. I mean,
and that's true of everybody. 90% of Excel usage is probably the top 10 features, because those are the ones everybody uses.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. That's true. So it's good. When you ask about the ribbon, a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't want to switch because of the ribbon." But really, you get over the ribbon in a couple of days.
I think it's actually a good idea once you're used to it.
I run into people who are completely new to Excel, and they love the ribbon.
Oh yeah,
because they never knew the old thing.
It makes it so much easier to find what you're looking for. Right. So for novices, I think it's particularly of real use. It's the pros like you who are used to these keystrokes, and you know what's there, and you want it to be the same way. You don't want it to change.
The frustrating, they added this ability to use the old keystrokes.
Right.
Okay, but there's a delay. So it used to be that I would use Alt-E-I-J, edit, fill, justify. If I fire that off really fast,
it has to think.
It doesn't catch it. You have to do the first letter, Alt-E, and then kind of do the rest of it. So
it's not the same. This guy is like, you should see him. He goes like this, like this. It's amazing. You want to be a power user like Mr. Excel? Get the book, Learn Excel 2007, the brand new edition from Mr. Excel. 377 Excel mysteries solved, 900 plus pages. You can get it online from Holy Macro Books, at bookstores, of course, Amazon.com, or download it free.
Just download it for free.
Excel. He's not even trying to sell it.
If it's not the best Excel book you've ever seen, I don't want your money.
There you go. And if it is, then buy it.
Then I do want your money.
That's fair. Then give him his money. MrExcel.com. Thank you, Bill.
Thanks,
great
Leo.
to see you. And thanks for the leprechaun coins. They've all disappeared. I don't know where they could have gone. All right, we're going to have more of your calls in just a bit, but right now, a close-up look at something you'd find around the studio. What is that? Maybe Mr. Excel is puzzled. Well, I'll tell you what. Stick around. We'll zoom out and find out when the lab continues right after this. Welcome back to the lab. Before the break, we showed you this close-up of something. It looks like a plasma speaker system. That's it. I hope you got that, because I didn't. The Griffin Evolve speakers, we're going to be talking about those a little later on with Callie Lewis. She's going to give us our demo. But before we do that, let's get another caller on the air, Kate Abraham, who had too much to dream last night, I understand.
Too much sleep last night.
You can have too much sleep, can't you?
Yeah, I feel really kind of a little bit sleepy
She's
today.
relaxed.
Just chill.
Relaxed. It's also the rain. The rain's very relaxing.
It rains all the time.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we are going to Sarnia in Ontario, and we have Bill on the line.
Hey, Bill, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Is it sunny in Sarnia?
It snowed the other day.
Yeah.
We got a whack of snow.
It's still there, too, I bet you.
Oh, it is.
What can I do for you today?
Yeah, I'm having a problem with a webcam on an Acer computer.
Okay.
And it's running Vista Windows.
Okay.
And the problem is that the camera doesn't work.
Yeah, that's very common. For some reason, Vista has a lot of trouble with webcams. Who makes your webcam?
It's a Bison Cam.
It's what?
Bison.
Bison.
Yeah,
there's your problem right there. That's a bunch of bull. No, I think that's probably the up to Bison to get you a Vista driver. Be my guess. It took a while for all of the, including ironically Microsoft's own webcam, didn't work for quite a few months after Vista first came out. So what you want to do is get a Vista driver. This is a big problem with a lot of cams. Let me just see if Bison has a Vista driver. Have you checked?
Yeah, I downloaded a registry file from Acer for it, and it was for Windows Vista, but it still doesn't work. What it does is when you install it, the picture comes up, and you can see the movement in that, but it looks like kind of like an oil slick. It looks like an oil slick, like a halo around your
That's not right.
Oh, and the image is all black. So
interesting. I see now this registry fix. Now, you need a driver that goes with it.
Yes.
So I'm on a blog posting here. Actually, it's on the ASUS forums. It looks like there are a lot of other people having trouble with the Bison, which is the Acer camera, right? Is that, or Asus camera that they use in the Asus?
No, Acer. AC.
Acer. Okay.
Yeah. But the last I saw, there was like it had to have been 1,800 people having problems with it because of the Windows Vista package.
Oh yeah, I mean a lot of hardware doesn't work with Vista. Understand that Microsoft does what it can to make Windows work with legacy, that is pre-Vista hardware and software, but there's a lot of programs and a lot of hardware, and not all of it will work. And generally, Microsoft requires some cooperation from the company that made the hardware. In this case, you can't really blame Microsoft. I think Bison has to come up with it. So I don't know if this is the post you're talking about, but this is on dandar3.blogspot.com. He says he's finally got his Bison working using a driver here from MSI.com. And this is the registry hack. Did you update the driver as well as do the registry hack?
Yes, I did. It doesn't do anything.
Doesn't do anything. No. Now, this is on an Asus as opposed to Acer, and it may be that the model is different or the way Asus is implemented is different. Is your Bison built into the Acer?
Yeah, it's right into the screen.
Yeah. Well, all I can say is I remember that this was a problem, and Logitech updated their drivers. A lot of companies now, if you're buying a webcam for a Vista machine, you absolutely should make sure that you get one that says Vista certified on it. And this is the reason I tell most people not to upgrade from XP. If you have a machine like yours that was designed to work with XP, and you upgrade to Vista, these things are going to happen. And I don't have any extra solutions for you. I mean, it's ridiculous that you have to even do a registry hack and a driver update. Clearly, Bison hasn't released a Vista-compatible driver that works for your hardware. I just keep on them. Keep calling Acer, keep calling Bison, saying, where's our driver, where's our driver? I have a Dell with a built-in camera that I updated to a Vista, and for a while it didn't have the camera driver, and then eventually it did. So I think you could probably expect, if it's a late model computer, if it's made in the last couple of years, that Acer will update it. But it's up to them. They have to put out a driver for it. And in general, my advice now is, if you're getting a new computer, you don't have a lot of old hardware like printers or old software you need to use, Vista's okay. But for most people, XP is still the operating system of choice. It's mature, it's been patched so that it's secure. Microsoft still supports it. They still sell it. They were going to stop selling it by now. They backed off of that because nobody wants Vista. If you have existing hardware or software, stick with XP. There's no reason not to, unless you're having a lot of problems with it. I'm sorry to say that's the only answer to that question, is you got to wait for them to update the drivers. Sean Carruthers is here doing his Geordie impression. What are you doing there?
Oh, sorry, I'm just finishing up on some of my email over here.
You're not. That's not a computer monitor. That's a visor. Can you see me when I point at you like that?
I can now.
So, okay. So it's not a heads-up display?
No, this is the...
You're blind when you're wearing that. Let me try it.
From the HeadPlay. It's the personal cinema display, and it's...
oh, you can see the computer screen.
You can see my computer screen. I've actually set this up as a secondary monitor on my computer.
Wow.
You can see I can just slide things onto your monitor off of my own here.
It's not as clear as a monitor would be.
No one else can.
This would be less good for computing, better for movies, right?
Because no, it's designed for movies. It's designed for use with the computer. It's got USB ports on the side so that you can actually stream movies and photographs and things like that from a key. And there's also a flash card slot. So
so you could put flash card in this. Yeah, by the way, is it only polka dot?
Yes.
Does it come under? Okay, not polka dots and
it all comes through this control panel, actually. So there's USB.
Wait a minute, you don't carry
this
around?
Side.
Okay, so you don't wearing this around.
No,
this is for home.
You can take this with you, but it does have a battery pack here. Okay. I should mention that people out there aren't able to see what we're doing because it's personal. It's all inside that.
Yeah,
display.
I mean, it looks like a computer screen. Just so you know, it's not as clear as your computer screen. No. It's not as high resolution. What's the native resolution in here?
I can get it up to about 1024 by 768. Okay. So it's not super high res, but I mean, you can actually work with it when you're
fine for a movie, though, a DVD.
With the movie.
How do you like it with a DVD?
It seems fine. I mean,
It's not virtual reality.
No, it's not virtual reality, and
it's like a screen projected in front of you.
It does tend to drift around on your head a little bit unless you cinch it down really tight. So it's not necessarily the most comfortable thing in the whole world.
Let's get the pros and cons here. Display quality is great. You can adjust the eyepiece, so it makes it a little more comfortable.
There's little trims underneath the brim there, so that you can actually focus it a bit better.
I don't know if it's really a secondary PC display since you can't see anything when you're wearing it, but I guess.
You know, I tried it actually for about an hour, and you do get used to it. You can see it fairly well.
What are the negatives?
It does ride around on your head, unfortunately, so it can go out of alignment.
Make you look like a dope.
It makes you look like a dope. and that processing unit, as you mentioned, especially because this one has a battery, it is bulky.
$500 is a little bit expensive. I'd say these are, I keep seeing these. It's an idea whose time has not quite yet come.
It's almost there. If they can make it look a little bit less dorky than this, I think it'll...
What do you mean? I don't think this looks dorky. Do you think this looks dorky? Coming up, Callie Lewis. Hey, 85, and we continue with the lab. But right now it's time. Oh, look, I can see the quick quiz question of the day. Oh, what is the code name for AMD's first processor graphics combo platform? Is it Viper, Sniper, Spider, or Centrino? Think about it. I wonder if this thing will help me figure that out. We'll tell you a little later on as the lab continues. Stay right here. Welcome back to the lab. I'm Leo Laporte, and it's time to say hello to our good friend from Geek Brief TV, ladies and gentlemen, Callie Lewis, all the way from her Geek Brief studios in Texas. Hi, Callie. Wait a minute. No, you must be at the fancy studios today.
I am at the fancy studios, xtrain.com.
Boy, does that look good.
Oh, I love it here. I'm in heaven here.
We should say, I bet you're really just sitting in a little tiny closet that's all painted green, and everything else is fake, right?
Everything is fake, yes, except for these speakers.
So tell us about these speakers. I remember seeing these, I think, prototyped at Macworld. They're out now.
They are out, and they are amazing. These are wireless speakers that actually work. So look at this.
Whoa.
It's funny, on the website, they have them floating, so it looks like they actually float. They're not magic, but they do work, and they're amazing.
So the idea is that they sit on the base until you want to walk away. I don't understand.
Well, these are the speakers, and this is a charging station.
I see.
Here.
So they're charging up on that base.
They're charging up, and what's cool is that you can, if you look at yours, you can see that you have a light on each speaker telling you which audio channel it's assigned to.
Oh.
Take one off, switch the other one around, and it's automatically going to sync up. So it's pretty incredible.
That's good, so you don't lose your stereo left and right, even though you flip-flop the speakers.
Right.
Wow, that is so cool.
You can take these around. You can hook it up. It has an iPod dock, but you can hook it up to another audio source via RCA. And what I do is I have it hooked up to my iMac, which has all my media on it. And I will take this into the bathroom while I'm getting ready. Neil will take this one.
So wait a minute. So that's good. So this is good for a couple. You get the left channel. I get the right channel.
Totally.
And then you can wander off.
Right.
How far does it go?
If you are doing them with just taking one single, you can switch it to mono, and that might give you a little bit of a sound.
So have these replaced the Tivoli? I know you were a big fan of the Tivoli.
Yes, I still love the Tivolis, but I do love these. I have been waiting for these for 2 years, over 2 years.
Yeah, we saw them a while ago. It took them a while to get this perfected. So how is the sound on these Griffins?
I think they're incredible. Now, if you're an audiophile, there's not a lot of bottom, so you might be bugged by that, but I'm not I'm good with the sound. I'm not a total audiophile. So for people who are really, really nitpicky, you might have a little bit of an issue here and there.
Well, they're not that big. They're just little cubes. I think anybody who knows audio is going to look at it and get an idea of what they're capable of. But I have to say, technology, especially computer design technology, has got to the point where they can really get a lot of sound out of cubes, even this small.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And now you can buy individual charging stations. So picture this. Now, I don't go to parties, but I hear this would be amazing.
Wait a minute. You don't go to parties?
I'm not a party goer.
Why don't you go to parties?
I sit in the corner.
Oh, come on. Are you shy?
Yes, I'm very shy.
Oh, you're not the Callie Lewis. Bring the real Callie Lewis in. Who is this imposter? Shy. Anyway, so these would be good at parties, wouldn't they?
Yes, so you can have an unlimited number of speakers all throughout the house, and they have their own individual charging station. So these will actually get off of the charger. They'll get about 10 hours.
Wow, that's great. And how far can they go? Did I ask you that?
150 feet, up to 150 feet is what they say. But really, what's really cool is that a lot of people are finding they get up to 300 feet.
So they can go pretty far. All right, I'm going to press play here. Okay. And now this one's going. Sean, go away, Sean. Just go far away and tell. Can you still hear it, Sean?
Yes, I can.
Still hearing it?
Yes, I can.
Still hearing it now?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
It's turning into a Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now?
Sure. Yes, I can hear it.
He can hear it. So that's pretty good. I mean, it actually goes through metal walls and everything. And the sound quality, I have to say, I agree with you. The sound quality is surprisingly good, I think.
Oh, yeah. I'm totally happy with it. Now, the downside is the remote. I wish that they had a better remote because it has more buttons than an Apple remote.
Yeah.
And it has less functionality. So
it does less with more buttons.
Right. So hopefully they'll change that in version 2. But
I see it has an EQ. It has EQ. It has on-off. Play, left, right, up, down. Yeah, it's a little complicated, huh? But at least it's not ugly.
It's not ugly. It's great. But the one thing you can't do is browse. Like, you can't go from, if you have your iPod attached, you can't go from music to podcasts or vice versa. You're going to have to actually go to the iPod to change it. Oh,
that's too bad. So, but you put a music mix on, you leave it on, you go, you put on your makeup and Neil can go. I don't know what does Neil do? He goes and watches the game. I don't know. This is cool.
No,
how much are these?
These are $299.99.
Okay. The Griffin Evolve wireless speaker system includes the dock, and I presume it works with all the iPods. Yeah.
Yes.
Callie Lewis, you're the greatest. Catch Callie 4 days a week on geekbrief.tv. She also has dearcallie.com now. She helps people with their love troubles. No. Troubles of all kinds. And of course, she joins us pretty regularly. We'll see you up at Macworld. That'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see you there.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
geekbrief.tv, a Pod Show podcast. And, well, let's thank X-Train, too, for the use of the studio. Sure looks
Absolutely.
nice. Boy, that looks great. All right, more of your calls coming up in just a bit. See you, Callie. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, welcome back to the Lab with Leo. I'm Kate Abraham. My tip of the day is for all you bloggers out there. It's a website called Copy Blogger, and the idea is it helps you write better, more strategic, in a nicer manner. So ideally, you get more traffic to your site, which means eventually, ideally, you get more money. So this is Copy Blogger. It's a really cool, easy site to use. Very, very visual, very understandable. And the great thing is it has this 101 site. So the idea is you can go through here and you can learn how to actually write in a manner that allows your website to be more accessible to people. And as I say, ideally, give you some more money in the long run. So this is copyblogger.com.
Who knew when we were in school and all the teachers kept saying, learn to write. It's a very useful skill. And we thought, it's the modern era, it's computers. Who needs to write?
Exactly.
And it turns out, even more than ever. And that's one of the things I love about email and blogs. Yeah. People are writing.
This is the thing, and what started off as like a hobby, like maybe say 5 years ago, the whole blogging phenomenon.
Right.
Now it's actually become like an accessible business, So
more than that, it's journalism. It's real journalism.
Yeah, absolutely.
So whether you're making money at it or not, you have a place to publish. Yeah. A lot of people can read your stuff. You may not want to make money, but it's still important to write well.
Exactly.
And what you're finding is there are a lot of really good writers out there.
And that's what's coming through now, I think. The fact that the quality of writing is getting better. So those are the sites people are going to.
That's
so you
right.
need to kind of really get the writing skills going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is that again?
It's copyblogger.com.
I'm going to have to go there because I have to polish and hone my skills. Now, let's answer another question.
Absolutely. What do you think? We're going to Benalla in Victoria, and we have Kelvin, who's been up for a very long time.
Oh, Kelvin, I'm sorry to have kept you up. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
How are you today, Kelvin?
Pretty good. That's okay. We're up anyway for work.
Oh, good. Well, I won't keep you from work. Let's just answer your question, and then you can get on with your day.
Right. Recently, we bought a laptop that came with Windows Vista.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to put Windows XP on it.
There's a trend going on here, isn't there? You know, I understand Microsoft just released a new version of Windows, fixes all the problems people are having with Vista. It's faster, it's more compatible, it's even more secure. It's called Windows XP. It's the latest version of Windows, and everybody's doing it. Isn't it funny? Vista just has really turned out to be a big disappointment. If you're using it on a new system, as you are, you're probably finding it works well with all your hardware, but some of your software may not work. Maybe your printers don't work. Why do you want to put XP back on there?
Software.
Software's not working. Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty common. So, well, yeah, here's the new Vista upgrade everybody's running out to get. It's called Windows XP. And by the way, it costs less. So, do you want to keep Vista?
I wouldn't mind having a dual boot system.
It's possible. It's a little trickier, but it's totally doable. There's a great article on lifehacker.com, which is a fun site to read. It's about hacking your life on making a dual boot Vista and XP system. The reason is, when you install XP, it doesn't know about Vista, right? So if you've got an existing Vista on there, and you're adding XP to it, XP is going to just either erase Vista or stop it from booting. So you can't just install it. Let me see if I can find the dual boot article. This is such a good article. And it refers off to other sites, but it gives you the maybe their search isn't working here. Let's click their search. Well, so much for a life hacker. How about if I use Google? And I'll do it. Google XP Vista dual boot. We have an article on our website that describes this and talks about it, and I just haven't looked at it in a while. All right, here we go. How to dual boot XP and Windows Vista. There we go. I found it. So basically, what the easiest way, of course, is to install XP first. But since you've already got an existing Vista install, you're going to do it a little bit differently. Now, this article describes how to do it if you've got a blank disk. This is the one you want on a pre-installed Vista PC, and I think there's some software. Yeah, Vista Boot Pro is what you need to do. So what you'll essentially do is you're going to. Do you have two partitions on your system yet?
Yes.
Because you'll need a separate, you know what I'm talking about when a partition, you have one physical hard drive, but you have two different logical hard drives. Or you could have two hard drives, but XP can't live on the same drive letter as Vista. So either partition your existing drive, or you could put in a second drive. Then you'll install XP on that new partition. Now, what will happen at that point is your system will only boot XP. Vista will effectively disappear. It's still there, but what happened is the XP overwrote the Vista bootloader because it doesn't know about Vista. So that's when you go to Vista Boot Pro. This is a program that allows you to tweak your Vista boot and restores the Vista onto your system. So in effect, it gives you a multi-boot capability. So the next time, so what you'll, just to recap, you partition, you put a second drive in, you install XP, Vista's disappeared, you run Vista Boot Pro. Now when you reboot, you'll get a menu that says, okay, Vista or XP today. You could tell it there's a default, you could tell it to do it automatically after 10 seconds or whatever, but it gives you the chance to boot into Vista on those days when you decide you want to use Vista. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Vista Boot Pro. I'll put a link in the show notes to this article, which is an excellent article. And you can get Vista Boot Pro at vistabootpro.org. It's free. And it solves this problem. In fact, look how many people, 1,008,069 people have downloaded Vista Boot Pro. So that gives you some idea of how popular this is and how many people want to use this. They have the newest version is out, and all you do is you use this once. It installs a bootloader, and you're done. Okay?
Right.
Hey, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. You're the second person in a row who's wanted to throw Vista out and upgrade to the all-new Windows XP. It fixes all the problems Vista has and more. Now, let's walk over to Ryan and get our UL's Jewel, a free file of the day that can change your life.
And it's on XP.
XP.
So we're rocking XP. It's called Virtua Win.
Oh, I like this a lot. Yeah.
So what it is, you can do multiple desktops or virtual desktops. So what that means is I've got one screen on my laptop here, but I've got 3 different programs open, and I want to kind of share each different screen. So I actually
there's never enough screen real estate.
No,
is there?
you can have a 30-inch screen, and there's not enough screen real estate.
Exactly. I use Spaces on the Mac on my 30-inch screen. I just need more room.
So what I've done is I set it up. So right now we have the Lab with Leo set.
Okay, it looks like a normal screen.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the Windows key and press right, and all of a sudden now we are going to go to my other desktop.
It's a new desktop.
It's a new desktop. Now so right now I have it set up so I have 4. So that I have 4 desktops going.
And you can have groups of programs on each desktop. So you could be, your internet programs on one, and your spreadsheets on another.
And then if you get to the point where it's all over the place, you can actually just right click and go arrange, and it'll just gather, and it just gathers them. So I'm going to right click here. I'm going to go gather, and now it's going to throw all my windows onto one again. Because I've had that happen where I'm like, where is that again?
Yeah.
So it's called Virtual Win for Windows.
Free.
It's absolutely free.
Amazing.
Go to labwithleo.com, hit free files, Jules. That's where you'll find this and many more.
Not Vista XP only.
I believe it's just XP. Maybe it worked Vista. I'm using XP, so I know for sure it's XP.
Why take a chance? Go with the new improved Windows XP. All right, we're going to take a break. Come back in just a little bit with the wireless keyboard fiasco.
I heard about this.
It's kind of a shocker. Steve Gibson has the details. But first, one last chance to take our quick quiz question of the day. See, it's first, but it's last at the same time. How does he do it? What is the code name for AMD's first processor graphics combo platform? I'll give you a hint. It just came out. Viper, Sniper, Spider, or Centrino? Think about it. We'll talk about it when the lab continues. So AMD merged with ATI, and they created the first graphics combo with a processor for AMD. Others have done this before. It's called the Spider, and it's out now.
And if only it hadn't been ATI.
Hey, it's a Canadian company. Knock it off. That's Steve Gibson, ladies and gentlemen, from GRC.com. Everything uses NVIDIA, but I think it's because NVIDIA is paying these game companies.
ATI pissed off people with their drivers back in the day. Mark Thompson still won't use any machine that has ATI because the drivers were just nasty.
I'm just so you know, I'm using ATI at home, and I'm very happy. All right, okay. So Steve Gibson is a security guru. He's the guy who found the first spyware, named it, and really raised the alarm about it. He's also the co-host with me of a great security show called Security Now. We broadcast that on the internet every Thursday. And we just recently did a Security Now about wireless keyboards. I guess somebody asked you how secure they were.
Right. Every other week we take listener questions and go through them. And someone asked, hey, are wireless keyboards secure? So I did
in other words, could somebody in the office somehow get my signal and figure out what I'm typing?
Well, and your typing, your logins, it turns out emails. It's hard for somebody in the office not to get your signal.
Great.
It turns out, it's just shocking how bad the security is of wireless keyboards.
They're not using encryption?
Well, what they're doing, you cannot call encryption.
Okay.
Maybe you could call it obfuscation. When you associate the keyboard with the receiver, they agree on 1 byte. They choose a byte at random.
That's kind of like your pass byte.
8 bits, yeah. And what happens is the data coming out of the keyboard is XORed with this byte.
What's XORed?
XOR is a...
Is that like Haxor?
It's a process basically which says invert some of the bits,
right?
But always
in a known way.
Always the same bits,
right?
So, and there's only 256 possible combinations of 8 bits. So it turns out it's very simple. The keyboards use 27 megahertz frequency, which people's fillings receive. It's a low frequency, trivial to receive.
Has anybody built a receiver that would steal this stuff?
Yes, there is now code out in the wild that will receive all the keyboards.
I guess you wouldn't really need to build a receiver. All you need to do is get one of those dongles that they sell with the keyboard, plug it in your machine,
write your own software,
run the software,
and just say suck in everything. It turns out that it's able to separate the streams from multiple keyboards at the same time. Basically, the way you need to think is your neighbor living below you or behind that wall could be receiving, if you're using a wireless keyboard, everything you type.
We talk a lot about keystroke loggers, software that goes on your system to monitor what you're doing.
What you really don't want.
Turns out, Who needs a keystroke logger? A lot of people use wireless keyboards. You just, it's simple to pick up what they're saying. So are there any secure, the Microsoft keyboard does this.
We know the 1000 and the 2000 series do that.
Right.
We assume the 3 and the 4 do.
Okay.
Bluetooth is safe. Bluetooth is an entirely different technology which does good encryption.
Okay.
There are problems with it also, but not nearly as bad as just the original first-generation wireless keyboard.
And Logitech sells a quote encrypted keyboard that uses stronger encryption.
A secure
it's a little harder.
keyboard.
Okay.
Yes.
So there are secure keyboards. But the most important takeaway is if you're using one of the normal wireless keyboards, it's pretty easy for anybody to monitor what you're typing.
It's the original sort of fundamental adage of security is convenience and security are always at odds.
Right.
And it's like, oh, look how convenient this is. I have no wires on my keyboard. Yes, and everyone around you knows
what you're
yes, it's a radio.
It's a radio. You're broadcasting everything you type.
With just incredibly weak protection. So just keep it in mind.
That's pretty stunning. It really is. And I'm sure Microsoft is, well, I'm not sure of anything, actually.
No, they're still selling. I checked, and it's like it's $42 or something for a keyboard that lets everyone know what you're typing.
What is the range on these, though? I mean,
that's just it too. The transmitter is not very strong, but you give a better antenna to the receiver, and you can pick up the whole block.
Oh,
again,
great.
27 megahertz.
So somebody could sit outside my house and aim a little antenna at me,
they just aim a Pringles can at you.
You might want to get rid of that Microsoft 1000.
They know exactly what you're doing.
Keyboard and get something a little better. Bluetooth's better.
If you care.
One of the encrypted
Maybe
keyboards.
You're just poems or something.
Right.
And you don't
I want everybody to read my poems.
But log in, username, password, your credit card number, and your expiration. I mean, anything you're doing is being broadcast, and that is not secure.
Steve is the president and founder of Gibson Research Corporation. His program SpinRite is still, to this day, after 2 decades, the best hard drive maintenance and recovery utility, just bar none. Excellent. SpinRite 6 is out now. grc.com. That's also a great place to go to hear our Security Now show, to download
125 of them.
A lot of episodes covering all aspects of security. Download a lot of free software there, too. He does a lot of pro bono stuff, including his very famous Shields Up, which tests your firewall. grc.com. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you,
for coming up and giving us the bad news.
Yeah.
Final word right after this.
Get a wire.
Get a wire. Credit where credit's due. I can't remember his name, but I read a blog post. Guy wrote a review of XP as if it were the new version of Windows, saying finally Microsoft has really shown. For all those people who have complained about Microsoft development, Microsoft really knows what it's doing. This proves it. It's a big improvement over Vista. It's the new upgrade, Vista Windows XP, and I can't remember his name. And I'll find it. And I'll give him credit in another show. I just apologize because it was a very funny blog post. And he came up with that idea. But you know what? It resonates. Hey, if you want to be on the show, we'd love to get you on the show. Just go to our website, labwithleo.com/tech
questions. Submit your question here. I'll phone you, we'll get you on, and we will solve your tech woes.
We would love to solve your woes.
lots of woes.
Whoa.
And if you have a webcam.
Did you find it, Sean?
Coding Sanity.
Coding Sanity, that's it. I knew it. That's great. Coding Sanity, a great blog. And who's the author of that, Sean? I really want to give him credit.
Coding Sanity.
Just Coding Sanity?
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. Anyway, we thank him for allowing us to steal his meme.
Absolutely.
It's a meme now, though. It's out of control.
We do give credit.
Speaking of out of control, we're going to be back next time with chocolate and information.
Absolutely.
Hope you'll join us then. See you next time on The Lab. Bye-bye.